The Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors continue their next round of the season as we approach the end of the 2020 Season 3 season. Welcome to the Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, the Green Hell, whatever you call it. It's big, it's fast, and it's daunting for every driver in this field today. There'll be 60 drivers lined up to go racing for 45 minutes. Welcome to SYM TV. My name is Kyle. I are joined by Finny DeCuna this afternoon for a beautiful day here in Germany, just outside of Nürburgring, a town of 156 people. A small town, but a big racetrack. 20 kilometers around, 156 corners. It is a lot. I don't know if it was 164 people and 156 corners or 164 corners and 156 people. I can't remember, but I think there's more corners at this racetrack than there are people in the town.
Yeah, according to iRacing, 154 turns.
Okay, so that wasn't even right.
I don't know. iRacing counts stuff differently, so you could be right, could be wrong. There are too many corners, it's easy to miss one or two.
Now we're off to a great start here as we have qualifying underway. You got 10 minutes left, so you're not missing anything down the track right now. We'll take you there in just a moment. Of course, there it is. 164 people live in this town, which I don't even believe because I think you can see 164 houses right underneath me here. There's the 154 turns, 20.8 kilometers around the Nordschleife layout. This, of course, is the Industrie-Fahrten layout. This is going to be a 5-lap race here, Finny. And tell me a little bit about this place. I know you just spent all afternoon working on cameras for this place.
Yeah, I can tell you about this place I'm sick of looking at after setting up the cameras for the last 3 hours. But no, it is a really interesting track. It's so bizarre as a racetrack because, you know, typically you go to a racetrack, you know the corners, you know how to enter the corners. Here it's, you definitely get a feel for some sections of the track, but by no means you memorize, how to set up into each corner. At least for me, I always find myself being surprised. Oh, that corner's right there. Okay.
And there is a lot of racetrack here to contend with. We're just taking a look at the very famous carousel. And while we're sitting here waiting, we'd like to thank our sponsor, 42 Stitches. Whether it's one piece for that special gift or 1,000 to make your organization stand out, 42 Stitches has you covered. Custom embroidery and heat transfer on a wide variety of items, shirts, hats, jackets, even flame retardant applications where safety is a concern. You can check out 42stitches.com or shoot them an email to info@42stitches.com to get your project started. Links are in the description. All right, so qualifying underway. It's going to be a long time before anyone logs the lap here, Finny. And this is a long track. It is a slow car. So it's going to take a while to get so many times on the board here. But we are missing one driver in particular. I believe that was Greg Stefani, Finny.
Yeah, and we were talking to Greg in the interview last week after taking home another Spec 2 category win. I was like, oh, we'll look forward to seeing you next week. He's like, yeah, no, unfortunately I'm not going to be racing because he's currently busy watching the Indy 500, which is going on at the moment.
Yeah, so of course, that Indy 500 has been a good one so far, kind of a wild one. Some incidents starting off. You can watch that live on NBC right now. Not on SYM TV, unfortunately. We're not quite there yet. If you want to follow along in real time for qualifying or for the race, you can find our live timing at simtvbroadcasting.com/timing to follow along in real time with your favorites on the racetrack. So with drivers on track, let's head around. How about Emil Orza in the number 99 here, Finny? And he's a driver that I have seen quite a bit. He ran the SCCA's Esports Championship, the Hoosier Esports Super Tour. He ran pretty well there. How's he looking so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's looking pretty strong. He's had a few recently good runs. Again, not up near the front. Hasn't really been finishing the top 5, I think, to his dismay. But he's been performing pretty well. And if he can put in a decent time, I don't see why we can't, see him up here in the front. Has a chance of taking home the win. I think really, definitely for this race, considering how difficult of a track this is to navigate, is just going to be a matter of getting to the finish more or less in one piece.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the key here. We already talked about the corners here. There is a lot of them. Well, I got a little special toy I can use here. Have a look at where this racetrack goes. It runs along the top of your screen, does some crazy zigzagging. They call them all sorts of things I can't pronounce. But this track just runs forever, off into the distance, back up underneath us. 20 kilometers of racing surface. It is very difficult to learn how to memorize every single corner. In a faster car, maybe. In a slower car fitting, you're basically reacting to corners as they come. And while the majority of the drivers at the front have been practicing and have a lot of experience here, I'm sure there's a handful of drivers that have not spent a whole lot of time here just because for some, it's not super enjoyable to run by yourself because it can get sort of lonely out there.
Yeah, definitely can. And I'd be surprised you're really only going to find yourself running by yourself if you do crash out early on. I think for the most part, these guys are going to pretty much be in a group, especially down the very, very long back straightaway.
Yeah, actually, here's a look at that right now. And, well,
that's only half of it, too.
You're going to see speeds upwards of, maybe even 110. No, it'll be like more like 120 something at the end of the straightaway here. I'm kind of kidding a little bit, but these cars are going to be at pretty much full throttle from the exit of that corner all the way down to the last little bit of the racetrack here before the final few corners onto the pit straight. And let me tell you, that's going to be a significant portion of their lap time, probably 30 plus seconds on that straightaway alone.
Yeah, still waiting on drivers to put down a time in. And these guys essentially are going to have only maybe 1 or 2 attempts if they were quick enough. Lap times ranging around 8 to 9 seconds on the fast end. 10, did I say 8 to 9 seconds? Sorry, 8 to 9 minutes on the fast end, and around split to almost 11, 12 minutes for some other drivers.
There's David Gaspers. He's won a handful of races, but he's found himself frustrated in recent weeks, Vinny, in contact with some other cars, and nothing that he's really done wrong. He's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think he's looking for a little bit of luck this week to maybe catch back up, at least in luck, to Maurizio Naselli in the 44.
Yeah, and we were talking to him at Mid-Ohio, and that he took some time off, just after some frustration from rounds like Zolder. He just took some time off just to regroup, came back to Mid-Ohio, won that race. Unfortunately, wasn't here at Tsukuba last week, but back here for the Nürburgring race. We'll see how well he can perform. Yeah, this is really definitely going to be, this track, definitely a very high test of driver skill.
Yeah, down the hill into the compression area here, then back up the hill, and a little bit of an apex miss there for Gaspers. You want to basically assault that curb on the left. These cars are not super friendly to curbing, but that one is probably one that you could take here. That's another topic of discussion. The curbing here, Finian. It is tall, it is ruthless, and you will definitely damage your car on it if you take it too fast and too hard.
Yeah, I mean, there may be some curbs, the really flat, concrete curbs you can see across the track. If you see something, like the normal curbs with the red and white, I think golden rule for pretty much all of them, despite how they may seem, is stay away from them in this car, especially at a high rate of speed, because it could, as you're saying, launch the car up in the air and upset the balance and throw you for a loop. So again, as far as keeping the car in one piece, driving in the right direction for this whole race, you want to try to stay off the curbs.
See, there's some damage for Jeff Rischer, and I'll bet you that damage came from one of those red and white candy stripe curbing that we were looking at right now. I want to take another look from up above here, and this reminds me, I really kind of want to go investigate after this race, this racetrack in the new Flight Simulator. I know we were talking about that briefly, kind of joking about it, but I'll bet you that Flight Sim's job, at least from the sky, in capturing this facility is probably pretty spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to remember if the castle was rendered out. I don't think it was. I think there was something in its place, but the town and the surrounding area was definitely really well done. I saw someone on YouTube already went in there and flew around. It's absolutely breathtaking just flying through, especially with all the trees properly rendered. It really gives you more of an impression of the green hell than with the 2D trees we were stuck with in iRacing.
Yeah, and now in all fairness, you're seeing this mostly from the bottom perspective here, which isn't a huge deal when you're on the racetrack. And it does the trick, and it still looks pretty good. But let me tell you, from the sky, flying over some of these racetracks, I was just astonished at how good they look and how cool, especially the night lighting effects are something that iRacing still could do some work with. But with 2.5 minutes left in qualifying, we still have a nobody on the board here with times, and that's quite fitting. I think we'll see a lot of drivers maybe not even qualify, just because that's a long time and it's very draft dependent. So even a qualifying lap, I don't think is super dependent. I don't know if you'll really get to know how fast you actually are with all the draft.
Yeah, I think David Gaspers is currently leading the train of drivers back to the start-finish line to complete their first time lap. So we'll see if, all of those guys coming across the line who have yet to actually put a clean lap in. Because that's another thing that's got to be extremely frustrating. You go through the whole lap or most of it, and then you get one little off track, and your entire lap, all the last 5 minutes were for naught.
Well, the good news at the Nürburgring is that if you have an off track, it's probably a legit off track where you're probably ended up off track and in hospital. It is not a fun place to go wide in, and it's pretty difficult to get off track here without hitting something. So generally, I think if you get an off track, you're probably have more issues than just a one exit outing in your lap. But Gasper, so far, you see a little bit of damage on the right front of that car, perhaps from some accumulation from some of the rough track edging around here. Jerry McAreevy in the 67, he's also on track, and I'd say that everybody except for a handful. I'd say everybody but 4 is on track right now. Adam Bradshaw, Samuel Dick, Richard Franco, and Simon Mayer, the only cars not actively participating in qualifying right now. There goes McAreevy off track, and there goes that qualifying effort. He'll be done. He'll go flying over and slams it. That's what I was telling you about, Finney. You go off track, it's game over.
Yeah, indeed, it is game over. Still looking at David Gaspers here. He's just now approaching the 3/4 of the way through the lap.
With a minute left, obviously he's not going to get another lap. He'll just get enough time to finish out the lap, but these times will probably be in the, 8 minutes, 7.5 minute range. It's going to be a long time. Yeah,
pretty much 8 to 9 minutes on the fast end, and then they're stretching to 10, 11 for some of the guys further on back. And that's another thing, because when you take, you look at lap times, you typically look at a field spread within around 5-10 seconds. That's like considered a normal spread. But because of the Nürburgring, again, it's so long of a lap time, you're seeing spreads in the minutes. Which is something you would see, back in the 60s consistently, but here it's kind of amazing to witness.
Well, it's just the nature of the track being so ridiculously long with so many corners, 154 of them to be exact, which is a lot. Again, it's a matter of, can you memorize them all and be able to take them at high speed? And for me, it's like, I know the Nordschleife, I've driven on it plenty. I still don't have it perfectly memorized. I can't go around there first lap out and be good at it. So unless you've had a lot of practice leading up to this session, I'm not sure that you're going to have a very good time. So Gasper's working his way now. And I'm not even going to try to remember all the corner names because I can't even remember where they go, let alone remember what they're all called. I know there was one that we were joking earlier is called cholesterol, I think, somewhere up at the north end of the course. So I think that's what they call it because it stops your heart, I'll tell you that. Oh no. Nobody got a time. Well, that'll be fun.
It's funny because all the drivers are like, what?
Yep.
Oh, you know why I think that happened? I think because not a single driver came across the line. I think iRacing was like, oh, guess no one put a time down. Okay, guess no one gets to finish the lap.
All right, well, here's your starting lineup either way. On the front row, it'll be David Gaspers and Marisa Naselli. Funny how that works out. Side by side, and back in row number 2, it's going to be Angus Waddell and Gorka Tarat. In the 41, Finney, and take me back to row number 3.
Yeah, and then moving on next, we find in 5th place, it's Rodrigo Duran, Austin Winner. And then next to behind them is Florence Arabian and Rafael Berbergal. And I think what was set is these guys have a pre-qualifying session, so I think the times from there were taken over. So, and because we obviously didn't have qualifying this session, I think it took those results. That's what I think is going on here.
Well, either way, I think some of the drivers that were counting on this session are going to be quite frustrated. The top what?
There's Yannick Chavin, so that's what I'm talking about. He never qualifies for these sessions, and I think because he was qualifying to get into this session, he actually got a decent starting spot this time.
Well, I guess we'll see how that works for him. I was going to mention at the top left there is the Grand Prix course here at the Nürburgring. Of course, we're using the Nordschleife for the 20.82 kilometer course, and that is what 60 Spec Racer Fords look like. We've seen that plenty of racetracks. That we saw it at Lime Rock not too long ago. And if this is not the exact opposite of Lime Rock, I don't know what is. They're both pretty hellish. They're both pretty green, but one is a little bit more fit for a field size this large.
Yeah, it was funny too because last week we were at Scuba, so we came from the shortest track on the schedule to the longest on the schedule within the span of 1 week. So these guys have to completely change their mindsets here, which I'm sure they have, and I hope that they got a lot of practice because they're definitely going to need it.
When you were setting up the cameras, did you know where the field grids?
I just was like, oh, I'll set it up next to the pits where you come into where the tourists come into, like set up and go out because it just looked visually interesting. I had no idea they were griding up right there, but that was totally perfect. Really,
really good. I will give you credit for that. As we roll on down the back straightaway and head for the starting line, 45 minutes of racing. And let me talk about passing opportunities here, Finney. It's not easy to make passes. Where do you do it?
Pretty much the straightaway, I think, is going to be a host to quite a bit of it. If you manage to remain within, around a second or so of the guy in front of you, you can definitely use the slipstream down the straightaway to help yourself out. Obviously, there's a few turns. Really, you're going to have these guys, I think, wait until the heavy braking zones. Done some of the longer straightaways to make some moves here, just to be a little bit patient, because there's a lot of other corners on the track, but a lot of them too narrow to make a move. So it's going to require a lot of patience around this track.
So 60 Spec Racer Fords working their way through the final section here at the Nordschleife, the Industry Farten layout. We're not going to be using the Grand Prix course today. And the wind blowing strongly across the racetrack, built in 1927 as a revitalization project for the economy. As we come out of the final corner, green flag flies and 40 minutes on the board as we go racing in the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior Championship down into turn 1. Gaspers in the lead over Marisa Naselli. Everyone else behind going to take their time the first little bit here just to avoid any sort of trouble.
Yeah, really through this first sector, you're going to want to be just a little bit careful. Get yourself single file because double file is not too heavily advised, especially in the opening laps. You can see a car already damaged.
That's Austin Winter from out of Ohio. He's got some big time damage, so he's already had a spill. But you got to, I mean, you're a long way from home here, Finney. If you want to head into pit lane, it's going to be a long way around.
Yeah, that's another troublesome part as you're talking about. Essentially, it might be, actually, it wouldn't really be faster for these guys to tow because you're going to have to wait all that time to tow. You're just going to be kind of sitting there staring at your screen. So you're going to have to try to limp that car all the way back around again. And here's another big thing, too. We've seen some guys, play with the fuel strategy here. You're going to want to be very careful of playing any games with that because if you run out of fuel, like we were saying, long way back to pits.
There's Rafael Berbagal on Rodrigo Duran. He's going to go to driver's left, touch the grass a little bit on a corner entry, go the long way around, and that's going to be really sketchy. That's a high-speed corner. Going off wide there. There's just Armco to catch you. Behind them, there's Emil Orza and the 042 of Fortin's Arabian. There's Yannick Chauvin in the 13 and Fred Desay in the 76.
I really hope Yannick Chauvin continues on. We've talked about all season long how if he had a solid starting spot, he can work wonders. And here he is now stuck. He's trying to move Arabian out of the way so he can get the spot. Or is it going to back out to give him some room here into the one of the first heavy braking zones here?
And then we head into the downhill. There's the 99 defensive line over. There's Adrian Jimenez Vargas in the number 10. Or 10th spot, at least, the number 65 car. Now down the hill, and this is where the speed picks up. Marisa Naselli goes out in front of Gaspers for the top spot. Jeff Frischer in the background. He has gone for a loop back in 33rd. Over the curbs now, the 44 Naselli takes the lead.
Yeah, essentially, it's a 3-4 car breakaway with Angus Waddell in third, and then Gorka Turret slowly following in behind. Then it's Rodrigo Duran, Rafael Berbagal, and Rafael Berbagal, last week's winner at Tsukuba, so he's continuing on in 6th place at the moment.
Barry McAreedy, more trouble for him. He spun out in qualifying, spun out in the race. He's going to drop towards the tail of the field, down in 34th place. Not a good start for him. Emil Orza now slotting in line behind the 042. And now defending from Fred Desay, he's going to go to the inside.
Ooh, and a little bit tight through the left-hander, and it looks like it's going to be Fred that takes the spot over Orza, who's going to drop another spot back to 11th.
Jeff Frischer, Richard Franco out of the race already. Frischer, a DNF on the opening lap. That's a tough one, depending on how long you practice, Vinny, and to be out on the opening lap is a tough pill to swallow. But for 7th place, Yannick Chauvin in the 13, he has put it on a show. And we already talked about how he doesn't qualify. And he does that for entertainment. But today, this is entertaining just to watch him be where he probably rightfully should be, with a couple of drivers chasing him down.
Yeah, he's currently sitting 7 seconds behind our leaders and 2 seconds back from the next group of drivers. So he's got a little bit of ways to push to try to catch back up to make some passes done. So we'll see if he can get it done here as he's trying to break away now from Arabian and Vargas, who are now starting to battle out for 8th place.
Juan C. Lind in the number 30's back here as well, putting pressure on Yerny Zorek. Ian Haycox in the bright green car behind, then Dan Sadro in the 51. Mitch Weatherly, Dominique Bureau, Tim van der Molen, and more. Austin Winter spun in the opening corner. Here he is battling the 222 of Kenneth Batley and the 007 of Antonio Reyes.
I'm curious to see if we see Winter come to the pits this lap, trying to fix that damage. Because that back end shoved up way into the air. And I can't imagine, if he's got any more damage, the car can't be handling that well.
For the top spot, Gaspers goes back through Naselli for the lead. And a push, trying to break away from 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, I think they want to have this race just themselves. Again, fairly easy to do to try to break away from the guys in behind. So we'll see if they can be successful with it. This is a very tricky, you may call this a bit of a stretch, but it's definitely not straight by any means. You see these guys curving through the track here. It's very difficult to follow another driver. You can see Vargas now leading ahead of Arabian and Chauvin. And Vargas, too, he's also climbed up a huge amount of spots, started from 16th all the way up into 7th.
That's a big gain for him, +9 so far. And basically less than a half a lap. But going back to the front, I think we're going to see a lot of co-opetition today. These guys are going to work together until the very end of the race. Naselli weaving right now, maybe to bleed off some speed and build up another draft here into the carousel now.
And the carousel, the good. You can see the gaps are effectively halfway through the lap coming through the carousel. For these drivers, you can see the gaps already spread out decently. This field spread around 20 to 30 seconds already.
And watching them all come on through. Again, you can take the banking here. You don't have to bail out of it like you do in some higher downforce, quicker GT cars. These cars are very comfortable down here. And sweeping on through. So far, so good for the majority of the field. Only a handful of cars out in the early stages. Fred to say, Emil Orza continue their battle for 11th. Looking back farther, there's Dan Sadro and Mitch Weatherly, and that's the number 4 car. The gold-colored machine chasing the sad face on the back of the 51.
Sadro has been having a bit of struggle in the last few weeks. Last week, if I'm not mistaken, ran decently well. Actually wasn't here last week. I'm thinking of Mid-Ohio. He had a top 5 of his first top 5 of the season. So he's trying to do really well here. Stuck in midfield though in 15th.
Ian Haycox, Juan C. Lin all together. I don't need to say midfield. We've got, well, I guess it is sort of midfield. We got 42 cars today, which is down from the 60 that we would normally see. Ken Batley, there's Austin Winter in the 033. Right behind him, Antonio Reyes in the 007. Good looking livery on this 007 car today. This is up in the YouTube corner, I believe. Yes, it is.
Yeah, up and away they'll go. Also want to check back too on Jeff Jacobson back in 20s because he's currently the Spec 2 leader. Of course, notably Greg Spotty not here. So the lead of that class now going to the 240, Jacobson.
And looking back to the next driver in that category, that would be Bob Kern in the 206 in 23rd. So for Bob, just keeping the car straight and picking up on any mistakes that the 240 makes, that's the goal for today. Now for the race leaders, they are approaching the tail end of the lap here, the second of the 2 carousels, sweeping out wide and now closing in on this long back straightaway here, Finian. And this tells me that we're going to probably see these two work together. There's really no point in taking the lead now if you're Maurizio Naselli. I would just wait until the very last moment. If you're anywhere else in the field, you're going to take that as an opportunity to run and try to grab as many spots as you can.
Yeah, I think for Naselli, you're going to see him get to the back of Gaspers, and he's just going to give him a big shove down the straight. I think we're going to see something similar with Waddell and Iturri. As I say that, they actually go side by side. I think they're actually just trying to slingshot each other to build up speed. Same thing with the leaders here. Yeah,
I think they're just going to swap, and this is almost like a 2-car tango that you'd see in NASCAR back in like the 2011 era, swapping positions, and they're going to keep doing this back and forth to gain speed. And look at this. It is coordinated chaos at the front of the field. Look at, they're 3 wide in the midfield there. I think that's Orza in the middle of it all.
No, that's Chauvin, Arabian, and Vargas all fighting for a spot. They're fighting for 7th place.
And behind them there is Orza. Look at this fight. Mitch Weatherly up the middle.
Yeah, at some point, someone's got to give up as they're getting now uphill into a heavy braking zone. And when you're heading 3 wide, things can get very hairy, to say the least.
Look at the 30 car. Juan C. Lin up the middle, 3 wide for a moment. Now into the compression zone. The braking now. Sadro has to give way. Ian Haycock slots back in line, and now they go from 3 wide down to 1 to complete the last couple of corners of the lap. Oh no, 35 spins off the bumper of Emil Orza. They tangle. And drama here for those 2 cars as they get stuck in traffic trying to get back rolling. Orza nowhere to go. He'll have to sit and wait.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a look at it. It looks like some pretty bad neck here, to say the least, between Orza and the 35 of Ian Haycox.
There's a look from up above as they came into what is the final section of the course. Orza dives in a little bit deep. Oh yeah, that wasn't even close. That's just unfortunate for the drivers to get caught up in that. Orza is going to cycle back out to 28th. Haycox ended up dropping down, let's see, to 32nd, so not where they wanted to be for sure. At Doherty in the 94, he's got Tim van der Molen and Jeff Jacobson in behind him. Jacobson back about 3 seconds way off in the distance. And Austin Winter still trying to recover from his opening lap spin.
Yeah, notably we're talking about, him maybe coming to the pit, so he actually stayed out. And I think this is probably, felt like he couldn't get all the way on the fuel mileage, so I think he's going to wait another lap to then come in, then he'll have to change. So use the fast repair given to these drivers. You look up for the lead, you saw there, Naselli and Gaspers exchange position. Gasper, almost threw it back up the inside.
Yeah, I can't tell if they're working together or trying to fight each other. Here's the 23 and the 10, and very similar looking cars. Are these cars teammates here? It looks like they would be. Yes, I guess that's Volcano Racing or whatever they're calling their team. 5th and 6th right now, working together very nicely. But going back to the leaders, they have been nose to tail like this, and they are gaining ground. So this tells me, I think Gaspers, even though it might look aggressive, I think he's just working with the 44 for now.
Yeah, I think, it could help. I guess maybe he is trying to pass 44, or maybe he's not, and maybe he's just kind of giving him his own space. I think Nicelli may realize this, but yeah, they're slowly breaking away from Maturity and Waddell. Well, I thought actually at some points both those guys in 3rd and 4th show that they have the pace to, at least try to get back up to Gaspers and Nicelli, but I just don't think they can quite hold it here, and it looks like they're slowly losing touch with our leaders.
I guess my question would be, where are you going to go? I mean, if you're Gaspers, you pass Nicelli, you're not getting anywhere. I mean, it's not like you're going to drive away, so I don't know how much urgency is involved there, but it can't be that much. Jumping back to Yerny Zorik and Fred Desay, all chasing the 7th place car. Vargas leading a couple car battle for 7th.
Yeah, Vargas, he showed some pretty solid speed in some parts of the track, but the backstretch left him open to attack, and you see 641 with Thomas Renders around.
Yeah, just looped it. Let's go back and have a look and see exactly how this happened. Might have had some help from behind. There's the 99 of Emil Orza, and no touch, just off throttle oversteer, just lost it into the corner, skipped up over the curbing.
Yeah, that's a very tricky part of the track. You talk about off throttle oversteer, you're going up and over a hill as well in turning, so this is a recipe for disaster for a car like this. I saw Vargas almost completely wipe out, and he's going to be checking up Chauvin and Arabian as they start to fight again. There's
Jeff Jacobson, currently the Spec 2 race leader. And Ken Batley not too far back in the 222. He's in the back of that shot there, so I don't think Jacobson is completely safe just yet, although he was about 2 seconds quicker than Batley in the first lap out.
Yeah, Batley in 2nd place in the Spec 2 category. Took that away from Bob Curran, man. He actually now just lost 3rd place in the category to the 334.
Julio Forcolin in the 334 car that has just gotten by. That's that red and green car, looking very festive in the middle of August. For the race lead again, Gaspers and Nicelli continue to trade spots.
I have to imagine this is planned between these two, kind of an unspoken agreement. As they're breaking away even more now, 4 seconds between themselves and Gorka Atura in 3rd.
Yeah, and then continuing to extend their lead, Jeff Jacobson, Austin Winter, Kurt Nunez jumping up into the fight. That's that bright red, or I should say dull red 18 car. Then Sam Dick behind in the 119.
I see Yannick Chauvin and Vargas side by side through this section. Arabian as well. This has been one of the great battles to watch as well. And actually Chauvin backing out.
And Vargas will take the lead of this for now, but Arabian in the 042, the brightly colored orange and purple car, has had a pretty solid season, running up inside the top 10 in many events here, Finian, but it looks like he's having a lot of fun right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been performing. His performance has also ticked up more in recent weeks. He finished 3rd at Mid-Ohio and 6th at Takua, so he's been getting more and more comfortable inside the top 10. He's trying to still fight with Vargas. And actually, Yerny Zorit's in behind in 9th. Just got past Chauvin as Chauvin almost gave him a little bit of a bump entering the carousel.
Ooh, Vargas a little wide. He actually was straddling the banking and the runoff area as well. And there's Fred Desay, who's crept up in this fight as well. Going to cross over in front of Zoretz and have a look at Yannick Chauvin.
Yeah, Desay trying to find his way around into Chauvin as these guys very close together here through the twisty bits on the back part of the course.
I mean, I know we don't know other court names. I just have to laugh at twisty bits on the backside of the course being pretty much the entire place.
Well, I would like to say the names, but nearly all of them, I think, save for few, are all in German. So.
Yeah, I was in the twisty bits on the backside of the course.
This section of track is significantly tighter and, again, arguably twistier than the rest of the track.
Are you in the twisty bits or the twistier bits? No, I was in the fast twisty bits. YouTube corner. There's one that we know. Yeah. Fred Desay chasing. Chauvin, Arabian, and Vargas up the hill. These cars are fairly gutless in terms of torque, so they don't run very fast up these hills. You get downhill, though, and these things will accelerate like a rocket ship, especially in tow.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful about it in some sections, especially here. There's that big jump. You can see the cars bottoming out as they come up and over a little bit of a hill.
Now one of the twisty bits in the backside of the course. Up in front, Gaspers and Naselli still separated by half a second. It is a 6-second differential between them and third place, and Angus Waddell in fourth, Rafael Burbagal in fifth, and Rodrigo Duran, teammate to the 23, has dropped out just a little bit, about a second off pace.
Yeah, he's been trying to chase down Burbagal for quite a while, but I think with Burbagal catching Waddell in the turret up ahead, he's essentially going to join this now 4-car battle for third place.
Each individual sector on this racetrack is longer than most racetracks in general.
Yeah, I forgot there's, I think, almost 11 sectors, 8 sectors, something like that.
Oh, there might be.
A lot.
I just have 3 on my graphics here, so I can only see the first few. Now, onto the backstretch. It is a lonely, quiet time here as we wait for the field to come on and buzz by.
Yeah, you can see the leaders kind of swapping back and forth. They effectively separated themselves out from everyone else, and you can see that second pack now third through 6th place. They're kind of all just going at it for position there. I think they know that there's not much point in trying to work back up to the leaders. They're kind of in their own zip code at the moment.
I think so, and we saw Burbagal and Duran. They've caught right back up to each other, so I think the draft is... Actually, there's 3 of those Volcano cars in there. Who's the other one in there? I see Duran, Burbagal, and is it Waddell? That's
and
the other car?
Turret.
Oh, it is a Turret in the 41.
Waddell's the one out of place as they come back up towards the start-finish line. Now, pit window is essentially open. It's not going to be open for too much longer for these drivers. So you see who's going to come on down and make a pit stop. I think they can effectively go one more lap past, and that's pretty much it.
There's Vargas, Desai, Arabian, and Zoritz. Final corner for them to complete the 2nd lap. Again, we've already completed 40 kilometers worth of racing. Dan Sadro, he's into the pit box. Early pit stop for him. What do you make of this strategy here?
I think maybe just to get him, he feels he can maybe make up some more time in some clean air, and not have to worry about constantly fighting in the draft of other drivers. And he might feel that slowing himself down. So we'll see if this works out for him. He's fighting with Juan Sheelan and Mitch Weatherly in 12th and 13th. So we'll see where he ends up coming out of the pits to see a few more others near the back of the field come in. And
there's Jeff Jacobson, the Spec 2 race leader. He's into the box along with Bob Kern, Kenneth Batley, a couple of other drivers that he was fighting in the Spec 2 category. He pulls out and free. Pit exit here is very tight. Going to kind of thread the needle on exit and blend back into traffic. There's Thomas Renders in the 641. And plenty of space given there by both drivers. Nice racing there. Backing back in, Yannick Chauvin. Whoa, getting real tight back here with Fred Desai and Vargas all having a great 4-car scrap. Looks like they've lost Yerny Zoritz just a little bit. A mistake, maybe.
Yeah, I think at some point the track he made a mistake, lost some time. Although with the amount of back and forth that goes on with some of the guys up in front, shouldn't be too terribly long until the 82 gets back in the battle. As is that Jacobson?
It is Jacobson, the Spec 2 race leader. He spun out, and he did lose a bunch of spots in his category. And I wonder if there was a touch or he just got in hot, gets up on the curb right there, slips the car around, and going to lose 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 spots in his class. Yeah, obviously the pit stop is making this a little bit hard to gauge, but not where he wanted to be at this point in the race. He's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, currently the Spec 2 category lead girl goes to Brian Short in the 550 in 20th place, but still waiting on him to make his pit stop.
Halfway through this race in about a minute and a half, and Naselli and Gaspers have dominated so far, and you look at the laps led. Well, Naselli's led none, Gaspers has led both that we've completed. We've only got 2 to go next time we get back to the strike.
Yeah, we're currently about to start running out of laps, I guess. I guess there weren't really many to begin with. I think we did, I think almost 50 laps at Tsukuba last week. And now only doing 5 here at the Nürburgring, so you want to get that point for laps led. Naselli's got to work his way up to the front. He's only got 3 more opportunities to pass the line.
Chasing Naselli through miss, hit, miss. Again, a lot of respect between these two competitors. And while all the drama that Gaspers has had didn't really revolve around the guys he was directly competing with, it's more about lap traffic and traffic in general. Thomas Renders, Antonio Reyes, and Ed Doherty all together. This is for 24th. Doherty, the only one of these group that has hit pit lane.
Yeah, and actually, Ray's hitting pit lane as well. And we're directly in front of it. Actually, interesting thing is that a lot of guys that came in, they didn't record the pit stop for them on our timing and scoring.
Yeah, I just noticed that. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, no, right in front of him. Render slips and slides, and there goes the 007 hard into the barriers. And just like that, he's done. Well,
yeah, now these guys are going to have to spend time in pit lane. That's unfortunate for them.
That's how fast things happen. Just bam. Not a lot you can do. I'm trying to think what I would do different if I was in a raised position. I'm not sure that there was anything you could have done different.
Yeah, unfortunate circumstance. Going to take both those drivers out of the race. Still up in front. Gaspers and Naselli still together. I thought at one point Naselli's going to lose touch of Gaspers, but he's been able to keep that gap pretty close. Looking at third now, Berbigal, Duran, Waddell, and Itura. They've kind of actually separated out a little bit.
Yeah, Berbigal and Duran have been working together a bit better. It seems that Duran's the kind of the odd man out of this three-man group in the front. And so he's having to work with Waddell just to get himself caught back up.
The interesting thing, too, is that Duran and Berbigal were the two cars chasing Itura and Waddell, and now they've overtaken. Now they're working together to break away. Oh, as they say that that was Duran in the grass as he almost gets into trouble.
A little bit wide there, but managed to coax the car back on course with no major dramas as we head towards Carousel now for the third time. Looking in deeper the field, there's Dan Sadro, and that's Sam Dick in behind. Sad face on the back of the car. Probably a happy face driving it, though. He's had a pretty good day so far. Not climbing up as far as I'm sure he would like. But once the pit stops cycle out, I think he'll grab a couple more spots.
Yeah, he definitely should. He's the leading car of guys that have come to pit road. So we'll see how that plays out. Strategy-wise, in the 51, again, he was fighting for around 12th, 13th place. So that's where we're kind of expecting to get out, if not ahead, with some clean air.
And that four-car fight led by Vargas, they have not separated the entire race. And I got to tell you, I've only raced here a couple times in official races. I've been lonely every time. I'm too slow to be with the back markers and too fast to be with the fast people. I always end up in the middle. But these guys right now, they're having a good scrap. Why are you laughing at me?
Just the way you said that.
I always get lonely in the twisty bits in the backside of the course.
All 50 some odd turns.
156. Or what was that again?
Well, according to iRacing, it's 154. It could also be 156.
No, 156 is the number of people that live in the town of Herbert. I think. I had facts for this. We'll let them run through again because I'm curious. So there's Vargas, Arabian, Chauvin, and Desai, 7th through 10th. And Ernie Zorik has really dropped off the pace. 3 seconds back from this group. 164 is the population. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I'm surprised at how far he dropped off because he was keeping up pace, almost looked like making a few passes, and then he kind of started falling off. He's going a little bit slower than some of the other guys, and now he's completely fallen off of him. So I'm not sure if he's got something planned. Maybe he's saving fuel somehow. I don't know, but falling back into 11th place kind of by himself, he's feeling pretty lonely like you do sometimes. Coming back twisty bits, of course.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know what good saving fuel will do you because I mean, you're going to make pit lane, and it's not like you can go the entire race without pitting. So I don't know if he burned up tires. I wouldn't really consider this track super demanding on tires. Certainly not like Tsukuba or Lime Rock is.
Yeah,
maybe in a different way.
It's a long track, but I mean, essentially you're making a decent amount of corners like you would in a normal race, just less laps. So yeah, like you're saying, I don't think it'd be too demanding, especially considering this track's more designed for GT cars, not Spec supports.
So for the drivers at the front of the field, Gaspers and Naselli, they are swapping positions on the backstretch again. And when I say swapping, I literally mean that. Their best time for Gaspers is a 8:09.810, and the slowest time I have on the timing and scoring is an 8:57 by Ian Gibson. So there is a pretty sizable spread, well over 40 seconds between the top runners and the drivers towards the tail of the field. That just goes to show you the diversity and how tricky it is to really master this course as they run side by side down towards the last couple corners.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if we'll see these guys make a trip down a pit road this time by, if they can have enough fuel to stay up for one more lap. Because we've typically seen around 15 to 10 minutes is when these guys would come in usually.
Here they come.
And here they come in now. Yeah, I was going to say, I can't imagine them staying out one more lap because that will bring the clock all the way down to 7 minutes. But here they come in for their pit stops.
And everyone's going to be monitoring their situation very carefully, and it looks like almost everyone's going to hit pit lane. It's going to get very busy down here on a tight pit lane. Field comes on in. And again, if you miss your pit window, if you don't come this time, you're going to have a bad experience. And Sally pulls way out in front of David Gaspers. Is there a penalty maybe?
Oh, I think there was. He's been in there for a very long time, and I think we're going to see him go right about now.
Oh, man.
No, he's still in there. Still on his box.
Wow, this is
What
brutal.
did he get?
Whatever penalty Gaspers got, it just took him right out of the race for the win. And now, if I'm Naselli, I'm worried a little bit because now I've got no draft partner. And I've got a handful of drivers while they're 10 seconds back. I wouldn't say that it's impossible for them to draft back up to me here, Phineas. If I'm Naselli, I'm worried.
Yeah, I'm so worried as well. I think Gaspers, I think he's effectively retired. I don't think... Oh, he's finally come out. Yeah, that... He spent an absorbent amount of time in pit lane. I don't know if he got maybe excessive speeding. That cost him 40 seconds. I don't think he was
coming in that fast, but maybe that's the case.
Yeah. He definitely got speeding because pit road speed is 37 miles an hour. He came in around 40, 41 and kept that for quite a while. So, yeah, I don't know.
Could have been excessive speeding, which would have been a stop and hold for a minute, I would think. Or 40 seconds or whatever the penalty is, either way.
That's what I'm thinking, because they spend around 20 seconds on pit lane. That sounds about right with a 40-second hold, but either way, he's, you're saying, definitely taking all the way back in 16th.
So with 13 minutes to go, the next time by will be our white flag. Rodrigo Duran and Rafael Berbagal have to be thinking, hey, there's a guy up front who has no drafting partner. And with how heavily dependent these cars are on draft at a track like this, I would get up and go. They've already actually reeled in a couple tenths of a second.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the interesting thing though, is can they make up 10 seconds just by the fact that they are able to draft with each other? I would be amazed if they can pull it off, because again, Naselli is no slouch too. Naselli is a very fast driver in the twisty bits. I don't know. I'm curious to see if they can actually pull back up on Naselli with that far back. We'll see. This will be a show of really how dependent these cars are on the draft if they can make it up.
David Gaspers back to 15th place. And I have no doubt he'll gain a few spots en route to a finish here today, but not going to be a race win. Be another points hit for him as Naselli continues to just eat away and drive away in the point situation.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Daniel Sadler, who we were talking about, he came in just ahead of Wanshi Lin. He actually moved himself all the way up into 6th, while Lin is all the way back in 10th. So this is a great strategy goal for the 51 car.
Yeah, Sadler, if he could get a top 5, that would be a huge accomplishment for him. After starting back in the mid-teens. He's got Vargas right behind him, though. They'll have some work to do to keep him back. Now, 12 minutes to go. As I said, next time by will be the last lap. Naselli leads by 9.5 seconds over Rodrigo Duran and Rafael Berbagal. However, they continue to draft together. They've reeled in Naselli over a half a second since they came out of the pits alone.
And really haven't got to a fairly fast section of track where these guys are going to be on throttle for quite a while, where the draft is going to come into play. So I'm just seeing on the next stretch of track where they can go full throttle for quite a bit if they can make up some more time in this. That's when he's the most vulnerable, is on the straightaways.
Checking back in our Spec 2 category, the driver that is currently leading Spec 2 is Julio Forcolan, I believe, in the 334 car. He's in 21st overall, but Ken Batley only 2 seconds back. I don't think Batley's won a race yet this season, and he's off the low right in front of him.
Yeah.
That's the 18.
That was
Kurt Nunes.
Yeah, and he's got around just ahead of the Spec 2 leaders, so that was almost dangerous for him.
Woo, boy, that was real close for Julio. Right on board as he came on through, and watch this. Well done.
Oh, yeah.
Avoidance there.
Yeah, that's a terrifying thing because you never quite exactly know where the driver's going, but Julio did a great job of avoiding it.
And Batley was able to reel in Forcolan just a little bit. 1.1 seconds is the differential now, so we'll keep an eye on Spec 2. Up in Spec 1, though, it's 9 seconds now. That gap continues to fall with Duran and Berbagal, the two teammates, closing in. Yerny Zoritz and Dan Sadro. Oh, Sadro's had a problem. He's got damage.
Just as we were talking about, the strategy playing out for Sadro, looking at a top 5, had a bit of an off.
Oh, did he have some help? Or it looks like he just got in hot, and a car just stepped out on him, split the Armco, and that was a pretty sizable hit there.
That's unfortunate after this race is looking to go very much in this direction. Now he's got to deal with a damaged car for the last lap and a half of this race.
9 seconds flat between the two race leaders. Back to 9th place, Fords Arabian, 1C Lin, Yerny Zoritz. It's a 3-horse race for, looks like, 9th place.
And Zoritz gave a little bit of a tap to upset Lin in behind, and they almost saw Lin go flying off the track, but going to keep it collected in behind as they head to the carousel.
Remember the opening lap, Austin Winter, he had gone around for a loop. Here he is back into 13th. He's not anywhere near where he started, but this is still a pretty solid recovery for the driver that found himself turned around on the opening lap through the carousel.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to be a little bit disappointed because I'm sure he would have felt he had the pace to get a top 5, maybe even more in that car, but it went on very early for him. But as you're saying, decent recovery, all things considered.
Ian Haycox in the 35 also making a recovery from his spin and slide earlier that he got into with the 99 of Orza. Now, Haycox has recovered better than Orza has. Orza's back in 26 still, right in front of Kurt Nunez, who we just saw go around and contact the barrier.
And for Nunez, taking up to limp that car back around. And I can't imagine he's going to come back down pit lane to try to fix that. He's going to probably stay out for another lap. But looking into Selly now, heading down the back twisty bits of the course. Just under 9 seconds. That gap has been slowly falling, but again, if there's another 40 minutes left in the race, I would just say definitely Duran and Berber will have a shot at catching it, but I just don't think they're making up enough time on the 44.
Yeah, I still want to see them on the straightaway, though. If they can make up 2 or 3 seconds there, then I would say that they've got a pretty good chance, but I'm not sure that that's a realistic possibility. We'll find out, though. We're not too far away from that particular area. We'll jump on back to Fred Desay, Yannick Chauvin, and this is for 7th.
Chauvin's been having a good run. I think I'm actually kind of interested here. I'm going to take a look. This will be, if he finishes here, this will be his first top 10 finish this season.
The bird crap on the right front of that car. What is going on at the front of the 13?
I have no clue.
Right here. What is going on?
Let's get a better view. Oh yeah, that.
I don't know if he just had a German seagull take a. I don't know what that's all about. There's so many jokes that I was about to slide in there that I'm just not going to do. So I'm going to stop there before I offend somebody and probably myself.
Yeah, that's just so. I've never seen that before.
I can't say that I have seen that either. All right, straightaway time.
I can confirm.
Go ahead.
Actually, I was going to say, I can confirm that for Chauvin, if he finishes this race where he's running at the moment, his first top 10 of the season. But as you were saying, Duran and Berbergal, now they have the straightaway in sight. They've already made up a second.
Yes, Flight Berbergal and Duran, we have the straightaway in sight. My Flight Simon coming in there. 7.9. I mean, I don't know if any. I don't think it's possible at the rate that they're going. But there's Naselli, and there are the two teammates, Duran and Berbergal. They made up a pretty sizable chunk of time. I'm just not sure it's going to be enough without a mistake.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And I can't imagine this always going to make a mistake. He's a fairly quick driver. Doesn't need to force the issue here. Just needs to bring the car back home in one piece.
Final lap for the race leader, Naselli, comes on through about 8 minutes time from now. He will be in victory lane. I don't know where I was going with that. Duran and Berbergal chasing each other down the hill again. 7.2 seconds is the gap. That's a big ask.
Yeah, it is a very big ask. And again, if there was another 40 minutes on the clock, I think definitely very much within the realm of possibility for these two guys to catch back up, but it's just not going to be enough time. Looking back at Vargas, he's leading Chauvin and Desais.
That was the 51 of Sadro, another spin for him. This time into the final corner and hit the barrier and forced Haycox. I'm not sure if that was if that was where he wanted to go, but he ended up in pit lane. So hopefully he wanted to go there.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I think he actually retired. So unfortunate for Haycox as well.
Angus Waddell, he's had an issue. He was running top 3 all day long, and now he's spun out.
Oh man, I'm really curious if there's some help. Yeah, we've seen mostly single car spins and
got up on the curbing. Wow, that it's still going to be a top 10 run for him if he can hang on. But he's got Yerny Zoritz in behind that might be able to reel him in with that damage he's got now.
Oh, he's definitely going to reel him in here. He's got a big run. Might actually have a chance of making pass by the time they get to this next corner. And not quite.
Vargas and Chauvin, this is for 5th.
And this is where I think most of or we could see a bigger incident between these three drivers battling for position here, especially a high position in these closing laps.
High-speed left-hander now into the braking zone. The 13 has overlap. Can he get the car stopped in time? He'll back out. Behind them, we saw Arabian side by side with Juan C. Lin. Lin has gone through to 8th. Arabian back to 9th. Now speed's climbing down the hill here. Let's see what the VMAX is. Nearly 130 would be my guess. 130 is what we got.
Chauvin trying to match out Vargas, but nowhere to really able to make the pass. And if you're in Vargas' position, do you just kind of wait until the back stretch? Because I would argue that all this stuff going on earlier is gonna pretty much be for naught by the time they get to the back straightaway.
Yeah, I agree. I think even if you're in the Desai's position, that's where I would want to be. That draft is so powerful. It's almost something that you'd even want to wait for because I think the 13 might force this, because what will end up happening is, let's say the 13's out front, the 65 will pass him, and then there's so much straightaway that there's enough time to get back past him again. So there's really 2 full opportunities to draft by cars. So even if you're leading, I think you can get past and then repass before the end of the straightaway. I'm not sure I would, force that to happen, but I think it's definitely possible.
One of the bigger battles on deck. A few other spats going on through the order, but one of the main battles is for this high of a position. As second and third, they're still kind of going at it, Berbigal and Duran, but more or less, I imagine, trying to work together for anything in case Caselli makes a mistake in the back half of the track.
Julio Forcolan continues to lead in Spec 2, about 4.5 seconds in front of Kenneth Batley, so no chance there for Batley to catch him without a mistake by Julio. And we'll go back up front. Caselli, all on his own, continues to lead this race, and he had kind of lost his rabbit with the one car of Gaspers back in 13th after a pit stop mishap. But Caselli, while slower, has not completely thrown away all the lead that he had, so he's still using that as a non-renewable resource. I think he'll be okay as we go back to the battle for 5th.
Man, these guys aren't holding anything back. They're going completely at it here on this last lap. Chauvin's been aggressively trying to find a way on by Vargas. He's been trying to take a wider entry, later entry into the corner to get a run on the straights, but no bite so far.
Look up the inside. Can he make it stick? And Chauvin is at least door to door, and he's clear of Vargas and takes away 5th place position.
And Vargas, though, going to get him behind, immediately gets the slipstream back. Ooh, going to give a tap to Yannick.
Push and a shove. Behind them, Arabian and Lin trading spots for 8th.
Lin trying to also giving it a shove, trying to maybe peel out, maybe make a pass, looks to the left, gonna still stick in behind.
Back up as we head towards Carousel for the final time. Chauvin and Vargas. Now the race is on.
Yeah, actually Desai's in behind. He's actually lost touch of Vargas and Chauvin. He's over a second back now.
So understeer big time for the 13. That'll leave him under attack here as we head into the Carousel.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see anything out of these guys here. Going to hit very much single file corner.
Now the question is how good of a run do you get on corner exit? It looks like everyone got through there very nicely. No dramas. And now we head to the last couple sectors of this track. And no other major battles on them at the moment. Arabian and Lin continue to be one of the closer ones. For Colony and Haycox, this is not for class position, but it is for overall. That would be for 17th.
Yeah, Haycock's trying to get his way on by. It's been not a particularly good day for the 35. It's looking to be decent, but after an early mishap, put it back down the order.
And now, if you're Berbigal and Duran, what's the plan? You know you're not going to catch Caselli at this point. How do you duke it out between you two?
Just gotta hope for the best and just try not to kill each other on the straightaway, and then leading up to, oh, as you see, is that Waddell?
It is Waddell again. Second time,
man.
that'll be it on the final lap, a DNF for the 53. And this is, again, a curb strike. You see the car, actually, you can actually watch the underside of the car scrape on the curbing. Watch the sparks. That's what did it in.
It really unfortunate after that was definitely a top 5 car and just struggling, and again 1 lap to go and wasn't able to seal the deal.
Yeah, just skateboarded across the concrete, found himself in the barrier. That'll be it for him today. Naselli is getting reeled in. It's only 6 seconds now, but again, this needed to be 3 or 4 times the race length. He's just got enough pace on his own that he doesn't need to rely on a draft.
Yeah, absolutely, and definitely use that lead to his advantage. I think he's going to be definitely hopeful that, or glad that he had that lead to work with. Otherwise, he would have been a sitting duck back to Berbagal and Duran, who are looking like they're going to have to settle for 2nd or 3rd place, either one between them.
Gaspers is back up to 12th, and I think a top 10, even that would not be quite enough to satisfy him after really being in contention for at least a 2nd place. And then a pit stop mistake, which those are the most frustrating kinds because, oh no, Chauvin, trouble for the 13, big crash.
Yeah, after running so well this race inside the top 10, I think he's trying to get the car fired there. He finally gets it back away. He's actually going to just drop outside of the top 10 as winner goes flying on by.
Yeah, it's not a fun one for Yannick. Got up on the curbing, hit the gravel, big bam.
These guys did really well for the first 3 laps, and the last 2, for some reason, I think they just got too aggressive and started mounting the curbs like in every other corner for some of them, and it's been causing a lot of DNS. But you see Naselli up ahead. Meanwhile, in behind, Berbagal going all the way into the grass trying to defend from his teammate.
Maurizio Naselli continues to run some of the cleanest races in Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors, sponsored by 42 Stitches history. Behind him, teammates side by side, wheel to wheel, coming back to the stripe. Duran, Berbagal, nose to tail for 2nd. Naselli will come on through. He'll pick up another race victory, this time 5.5 seconds clear of 2 teammates that are still battling behind him. Naselli picks up the win at the Nordschleife. Behind him, Duran and Berbagal. Big dive up the final corner. Can't take it. Duran runs a little wide, but Duran 2nd, Berbagal 3rd. Duran 4th. Desay and Vargas, they're side by side coming to the checkers.
Yeah, Desay got a great run back on Vargas. Vargas sideways heading through the final few corners, but able to plant the car ahead. 1 more corner to go, and it looks like Vargas is going to just finish ahead of Desay's.
And here's Arabian. And that Desay was, well, there's Juan C. Lin, excuse me. That was the car I was looking for. They'll come to the stripe. Austin Winter and Gaspers to the stripe. It'll be 10th Austin Winter and 11th Gaspers. And Yannick Chauvin will bring it home in 12th place. That'll be a disappointing run for him. Meanwhile, Julio Forcolin, this is for, oh man, is this, no, that's for Ian Haycock, so he is all by himself. But Spec 2 race winner, I think for the first time, the 334 will come out of the final corner at the Nürburgring, and he'll pick up the checkered flag as Batley and Razki, they tangle. That's for 2nd in Spec 2.
Interesting what happened between these 2 guys. Oh, man.
And this is coming back to the checkers. Batley maybe just came over on him. And there's the 240 who will pick up 2nd in Spec 2 after his mistake earlier in the race. Drama coming to the end.
Yeah, high-speed incident. I'm surprised you haven't seen more of it, but these guys did a great job as far as avoiding one another. It's been a lot of single-car incidents for this race.
Naselli, Duran, Berbagal, your top 3. Vargas with the top 5. Juan C. Lin, 8th. Disappointing races, though, for Yannick Chauvin, who was up inside the top 5. Couldn't quite get that job done. And also for Jeff Jacobson, who had a chance to win this race and had it all fall apart. We'll be back in just a moment to talk to our race winners. Stay with us. Welcome back live to SYM TV and the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors, brought to you by 42 Stitches. Good to get a hold of folks this afternoon. It's Indy 500, so I think everyone's going to go out and watch that. That's what we're going to go do. I'm going to probably step away here after and go do that. But thanks again to our wonderful sponsor, 42 Stitches. And again, if you're interested in some custom embroidery, whether it's one piece for that special gift or 1,000 to make your organization stand out, 42 Stitches has you covered. Custom embroidery and heat transfer on a wide variety of items, shirts, hats, jackets, even flame retardant applications where safety is a concern. You can check them out at 42stitches.com or shoot them an email to info@42stitches.com to learn more. One last roll through our results here, Finian. Our next round will be at Watkins Glen. I will be gone. I'll be at Road America for GT World Challenge America. You, however, will be here. And it's going to be a fun one. Upstate New York, super highway of speed. It's always a good track.
Yeah, we're just about to wind the season down with heading to Watkins Glen and then wrapping up the season at the Phoenix Road Course. And those are going to be the last 2 rounds of the series. And looking at the championship standings, I think it's pretty clear who's going to be walking away with the trophy. Naselli's been doing a fantastic job, especially in the last few weeks. We'll see if he can keep that up going into Watkins Glen and Phoenix. All
right, that's going to do it for us this afternoon. Thanks for watching here on SYM TV. We'll see you next time. Next broadcast for us is going to be tomorrow night, ERSCA PrestineAuction.com series. We'll see you then.